So, James, welcome to the Beyond Four Walls podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Would you like to introduce yourself, what you do at the DALA Group?
Yeah, so my name's James Roll and I'm Managing Director for DALA Surveys. I'm an engineering technician and a building inspector with CABE and ICWCI. So my side of the business, we look after the surveys and all that goes with that, really.
Okay, brilliant. So we're talking a lot around, or we have been talking a lot around Grenfell and the things that have come out of that over the last nearly 9 years now, I think.
9 years, yes.
So what do you think has genuinely changed in the industry and what hasn't changed?
So what's changed in the industry, I think, is there's more scrutiny, but I still think there's a lack of competence out there, especially in the field, that the assessors that are going to site, and that, I think the way people interpret things, and I think that can sometimes go astray and not be as thorough as it should be. I mean, all the processes are in place and the guidance is there. I just think people's interpretation of it can differ from time to time.
Okay. And do you think that's because they just genuinely don't understand it? Do you think it's an educational piece that needs to be put into place?
Yeah, I think just because everything's happened so quickly. I know 9 years seems like a long time, but it's not really. Things have changed and things change really quickly. I mean, PAS has gone from one thing to another really quickly. And I think just, the experienced people out there, competent people out there, I just don't think there's enough going around to and the market's really saturated now, I think, and a lot of people are doing it. And I just think that level of experience isn't there. I think if you don't come from for example, you could come from a construction background and just have construction, or you could come from a background of products, of systems, because there's so many different cladding systems out there on the facade, and understanding them all and each of their components, to be able to do that, I think is you're either one or the other. It's rare that you get both together, and I think that it needs to be both. I think that knowledge of products and systems and of construction, I think that needs to be there, and also you've got the human element, the human nature. I mean, I often, when on survey, I'll open up and think, how could that even happen? You know, that what I'm looking at, and it's just human error. And I guess even at that stage, and I know from my own construction experience that there's a lot of people that are on site fitting these systems that don't understand them themselves. I mean, it's not uncommon for someone to not even have English as their language, fitting the system. And that can be a problem, because how are they reading the drawings and reading the specification and they're fitting that system?
Yeah. So when you say, how does that happen, as an example, do you mean how did that get signed off when it was built, or how is that even there?
Yeah, how have they got that so wrong? For example, I can remember one time opening up a building and we have an open state cavity barrier with an intermittent strip on the front. So it's designed so the cladding sits here and there's a ventilated cavity there, and if there's a fire, then that intermittent strip activates. That had been installed facing the building. So it couldn't even activate it, and if it did, it was just pushing against the inner blockwork wall. So you just think to yourself, you know, that's how could that happen? You know, with a competent installer, shouldn't go down that track. But it happens, and
as we found out, there's too many incompetent installers out there. You know.
Exactly. And I guess that comes down to training and that sort of thing, and it's an issue.
Yeah. In terms then of seeing different outcomes across similar buildings. So you open one up, and they're rarely the same.
Yes.
You know, can you explain a bit around
that?
Look,
as I said, the people look at a facade and they think it's just the outside finish. There's so many components to that facade, and there's so many elements that have got to go in together in order. They've got to be installed in their right sequenced and installed correctly. And if elements get left out, so you will open up a building, and until you get behind the facade and actually look at each of those elements and how they've been installed, then you really don't know what's going on behind there. And if you're not opening up in the correct location, that's also an issue, because if you don't get that quality of information, for example, where a floor slab meets a column, you're going to get both vertical compartmentation and horizontal compartmentation. But often I see assessors that go to site and they're not looking in that location.
Right.
Maybe because they don't understand, or it's an issue because they're not going to get the quality level of information, and they've only got a certain amount of time on site to gather that information. I think it's really important that you take a step back and just make sure you're getting the right location, and yeah, not having to open up too many areas around a building.
Yeah.
To get that information or that level of information.
So this might sound like a very simple, stupid question,
No.
but bear with me. For those who don't know,
Yeah.
what's the importance of compartmentation within a building? So, if you're talking there about horizontal compartmentation, vertical compartmentation. First of all, what's the importance of it? Why does it need to be there? What does it do when a fire breaks out? If you could just explain that.
Yeah. So to put it plainly, is if a fire was to break out in a compartment, you want it to be contained within that compartment, and for it not to spread through. Well, from our side, my team's looking at is the external wall. We don't want it spreading through the external wall. We want it contained in that location. So that the vertical compartmentation would stop the fire spreading from compartment to compartment sideways, and the horizontal compartmentation would stop it from spreading up the building, if you like.
Yeah.
So you want to be looking. That's what we're looking for. Looking to see that the system can contain
It in one place.
In the one
basically.
compartment.
Yeah. Okay. But how much does experience and construction knowledge start to influence the outcome of these, maybe around the surveys, but also the building itself?
I think it's crucial, because you need that construction knowledge to know how a building's working. You have to know how that building's working. We're gathering the evidence from site, and then that's going back to fire engineers, building surveyors. So that information has to be high quality information. And if the assessor doesn't understand how the building goes together, then the information they're giving back to others that aren't looking in the same hole on site, then that's not going to be adequate. They need to have that level of understanding of how the building goes together, and then how the system is built off that building, off the structure.
Yeah. Okay. So when you're reviewing a report, an FRAEW report for the quality and that sort of thing, what are the sort of conclusions and risk ratings? How are they kind of supported by the evidence and that sort of thing?
Too often they're not supported by the evidence, and it needs to be. It really needs to be. I always tell my guys, at the end of the day, what we're doing, it can impact people's whole lives. It's their homes. It's people's homes, isn't it? Even though it's multi-occupancy, it's people's homes.
Of course it is, yeah.
So
That's where they live, where they want to feel safe, where they want to come home, lock that door, and shut out the outside world. You don't want to be scared of.
There's consequences to what we're doing. I mean, what we're doing can improve people's safety, and I think that little things missed, like fire barriers and the way a system's put together. If we're not getting it right, if that level of evidence isn't correct, then potentially that could endanger somebody, and we need to get it right. And too often, I think that's not the case.
And what are you seeing improvements
Oh
at all?
yeah.
You know, over the last 9 years, have you seen improvements
Yeah,
to
no, there's
buildings?
definitely improvements, and I think it's just training and that has really helped that move along.
Yeah. And are there any stats at all in terms of, you know, fires that have broken out in multi-occupancy buildings? You know, pre-Grenfell, post-Grenfell. It sounds awful to kind of use that
Yeah, look,
as a, you know, you
no,
know what I'm saying? You know.
I've often said if I could turn back the clock and save one life at Grenfell, I would do that in a minute.
Sure.
But unfortunately, it takes something bad to happen before everyone sits up and says, "Hey, we need to do something about this." I think that's just so. Yeah, there is stats out there, and there's been things that have happened around the world, and yeah, but those things I guess have led on to change that people are looking to investigate and
Yeah.
do what we're doing.
Yeah. So obviously we want to be able to live in buildings that are safe. We want to be able to manage buildings that are, you know, as safe as they could possibly be.
Yeah, exactly.
We can't control people's behaviours,
Yeah,
obviously. We can't control what they do within their own properties. And, you know, a lot of fire will break out within the flat itself.
yeah.
So are you seeing, where I say, you know, are you seeing improvements? If a fire breaks out in a flat, are you seeing over the years that there are improvements in, you know, it's dealt with quicker because it's contained, because of all of the regulation that's come in, it's now contained better than it would have been before, potentially?
Yeah, but that's a difficult one for me because some of the older buildings are more stronger, you know, more
Yeah.
resilient.
Okay.
Like a double leaf masonry building, traditional build is going to be stronger than a building with a with a substandard range screen system, you
Okay.
know, where errors have been made in the system. I mean, if it's all been built properly and the barriers are all in place, then there is no issue really. But yeah, there's definitely change. Everything's changing for the better.
Yeah.
It's just the human element. I
Yeah.
think that's the big key. It's the human element and training and competency really.
And people understanding the
Yeah,
risk, not only the people who are doing the assessments,
yeah.
but
No,
the people who are living
exactly.
in the buildings as
Yeah,
well.
no, exactly. And you said it before. People, that's people's homes, and they've bought that home. Everything should be in the right place
Yeah.
because that's what they're paid for. I
Yeah.
mean, in London, you pay a pretty penny for that,
Certainly do.
and you shouldn't have any problems. Your insurances shouldn't be going up because of issues with the cladding
Yeah.
and that. So.
Okay. And are you finding that there are still quite a lot of assumptions that are made in surveys?
Yeah, yeah, I think there is, and I think that can be avoided. It shouldn't be happening, but it is happening out there. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I have seen it happening. Yeah,
Okay. You're working hard to stop that from
yeah, yeah. No,
happening.
well, that's
Yeah.
what we're aiming to do at DALA.
Yeah. So how important is it that findings align with sort of your realistic remediation approach?
Yeah, they have to align. It's important that that recommendations for remediation and that are realistic. I mean, it needs to be. There's no use recommending something that can't be changed because it won't follow through. There has to be realistic outcomes.
You have to
Yeah.
work within the budgets
Yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah,
you know, that
yeah.
sort of thing as well.
Yeah, I mean, safety is always the overriding factor, but it has to be realistic to it has to be able to be achieved.
Yeah. And you
Yeah.
say though about things being realistic,
Yeah.
intrusive surveys.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that
No,
really.
look,
You know, certainly when they're living there, they don't want their building ripped
no.
apart in any way, shape, or form. So um, how do you carry out intrusive surveys?
Yeah.
Is one question, but also when do you think actually it doesn't need to be that drastic?
Yeah.
Can we do something else?
Well, as I said earlier on, a quality survey doesn't have to be the building peppered with holes. And I mean, and this is what we used to put, and what people still now put on a building. So we cut a hole, 250 by 250, and we put that plate on.
Okay.
So you've got a beautiful clad building, blues, yellows, greens, and then you've got a silver plate.
Right.
And
Okay.
I've seen buildings recently that have got 20 of these on one elevation, it's just ridiculous. So at DALA, we've come up with this sort of solution. This is one of our, we've just had this made, we get this produced in the UK. So that's that plate. So
Okay.
that's the compliance section, that's the fire safety section. We've filled the hole with mineral wool, and that looks like a vent on the side of the building.
Right.
Colour coded, so it'll be against the grey. So it doesn't have to be a bad experience for the residents.
Yeah.
Quite often it is. We'll ask them to move their cars, they can get cherry pickers in there.
Yeah.
But if you're doing your job properly, the site guys, and it's well planned, that doesn't have to be a burden on the residents. And like I say, with quality information, why do I need to do a compartment floor and a compartment wall test and have two plates or two vents?
Yeah.
And I can do one at the same time and get
Yeah.
all that quality information. As long as I'm confident in what I'm seeing and what I'm taking, my contemporaneous notes, my videos, my recommendations back to the team, back in the office. There's no reason for it to be a bigger survey than it needs to be, as long as I'm getting quality information.
Yeah. And you said there about, we said before, sorry, about, how understanding the building and the construction of the building is really important when you're going out to do these surveys.
Yeah.
Are you finding that the drawings don't match what's actually been built?
Yeah.
So you have to, no point in just, you can't do a desktop survey, you can't just look at the drawings, you have to be there on site.
A lot of people come to us and they ask us to do that. Why can't you just do a desktop review? We've got the as-built drawings. I think it's important that assessors look at those as-built drawings, but you can also take them with a pinch of salt. Okay. Quite often I'll do because I always do a desktop stud review on the drawings, get a feel for the building, see what's supposed to be the as-built, but then when I open up, it's different. It's not following their fire strategy. It's different materials. So yeah, the survey is the important thing. But you need to do that review. That review definitely has to be done. And then from there, you can carry out the survey and see what's not in position where it should be, and then you can report on that.
Yeah. So what, in practice then, what does a high quality survey, intrusive or otherwise, look like to you?
So it's well planned, good communication with the managing agents. Assuming that that's also been passed on to the residents, because that's very important. Quite often, someone will put their head out the window and say, "What are you doing? What are you drilling in the side of my apartment?" You know, and so yeah, communication that's good, and yeah, quality of information gathered from site, and making good where you've been, like the drill holes, not putting a grey mastic in a buff mortar line, putting that sort of solution on them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's new. This is, as far as I'm aware, nobody's doing that, and that's a new thing. And I think that's because what if a building doesn't need to be remediated? So it's going to spend its whole life with these silver plates for its whole life. So yeah, I think that's a good survey.
It's a really good point, actually. You know, if you're doing these surveys and you're leaving the building, and I don't mean you as in DALA Group, but somebody is leaving the building with holes in it and these silver plates here, there and everywhere, and then it comes back that actually you don't need anything further.
So that's going to stay for the rest of its life.
So there's no make good strategy around that.
That's it. That's left on the building. And now that I've said that, you'll start noticing them when you're driving.
Yeah. Like when you're looking at a car or something, you see them everywhere.
But with that option, it looks like it was meant to be, sort of thing. And like I said, with the mastics, have the right cut. I tell my girls all the time, have the right colour mastics. Make sure you've got your hoover there. Don't leave dust all over the windowsill. So when they open their window, all the dust from your drills coming in the window. That's a good survey. A good survey is a good experience all round.
Thinking about the people who live there.
The residents,
yeah.
And I think that's often forgotten and yeah, that's the important thing. It's their homes. You need to respect that.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say about attention to detail and making sure that that you said about, tidying up after yourself. I
Yeah,
suppose it's no different to if a decorator came in
exactly.
and decorated your living room.
Yeah, no,
Not going to
exactly.
leave their paints everywhere and
Yeah.
that sort of thing. You're tidying up after
Yeah,
yourself
no.
afterwards.
I think assessors, they need to. It can't just be you're there to just do that. If
Drill
it,
and run.
yeah, and there's all sorts of elements on a building. I mean, expanded polystyrene, that makes a horrible mess. It's like it's snowing.
Yeah.
And you can mitigate it and just take your time. Just don't be tearing into it and just letting it go everywhere, collecting it, taking it as one piece, not breaking it up
Yeah. So
and
from
making
DALA Group's perspective then, is that a case of, it could be that a surveyor is trying to do it quickly because they've got 10 surveys to do in a day, as an, I could be exaggerating there, but as an
yeah.
example,
No, my team,
from your
yeah,
perspective,
No, my
you
team would
know,
never, and we're one survey a day, sometimes 2 days, sometimes 3 days, depending on what's required.
you don't want them
That's the
to
thing.
rush.
When I say we don't need to be cutting many holes in a building, because we don't want to leave it peppered, the quality of information must be there.
Yeah.
So we need to pick up on every wall type. We need to make sure that we understand each system, because sometimes there can be 3 or 4 systems on a building, sometimes more.
Yeah.
It needs to be you need to understand the build, and you need to make sure you're getting that level of quality information.
Yeah.
And if not, that's going to come to me, QA1, and you're going to be going back to that site. And my guys are aware of that.
Yeah. So after the report is done and dusted and you've
Yeah.
passed that report to whoever's commissioned it,
Yeah.
what's your involvement after that? Are you there to answer the questions? Are you there to support?
So my involvement personally,
Is that?
no, so we're not, because it's the DALA group, isn't it? So
Yeah,
we
of
have
course.
DALA Fire and Risk, which Steve, which you'll be interviewing in a little bit, and we also have Steve Reese at DALA Projects. So we have the solution all the way through, from me doing the initial survey through to all the way through to remediation if need be. And yeah, it's important that that's all joined up. I mean, you could do that through different companies at different stages, but at DALA Group, we can do that. We can deal with the whole
Yeah.
way through the process.
I like that because then it's not here's your report
Yeah.
and now you've got to go to this person to do that. You can do everything in one place,
Yeah.
and
No,
you can support each other.
yeah, no, exactly. And
Internally
as
as well.
Annette said earlier, we can be talking with the residents. We can represent you, at different stages of where we need to be.
Yeah. Okay. And so, what additional value can be added beyond the core survey work?
Just with assistance with anything through to that remediation stage. Like I say, DALA Projects, who I believe will be coming in to talk with you at some stage as well. But yeah, no, we can handle it all the way through.
Okay.
And we're there over the phone too. I quite often get calls from clients and that, and wanting to speak through the report. We turn our reports around really quickly too. We've learned from the past at other companies that it doesn't need to be a process that's weeks and weeks and
Yeah.
weeks. We can get it, as long as that quality information is there.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. And I think we've nailed that.
Yeah.
So,
It's good to know that there's a not necessarily quick as in days, but
Yep.
a good realistic turnaround
yeah,
time
yeah.
because
No. It's realistic in that everyone knows what they're doing, and at each stage, and that quality information is there. I think once that's there, everyone's confident to act on all the way through. And
Yeah.
I think we've got that nailed too.
Yeah, that's good to know. And so, where is the biggest gap in the industry today? Do you think?
Competence. It's definitely competence. It's the word of the moment. Everyone's talking about it. All the way through construction, I think it's a big issue, and it's starting to be dealt with. And yeah, I think we've got a long way to go, but it's been recognised, and people are acting on it.
So, how do you see external wall assessments evolving over the next few years?
I think guidance is going to change. I think there'll always be a focus on that competence, like people upskilling themselves and having to upskill themselves. I think that's going to be the push. I really think that these surveys aren't going to last forever for the FREWs. Eventually, the buildings are all going to be done, aren't
Yeah,
they?
they're all going to be done and safe, and
So
you
we
know,
also do like clerk of works service. I'm also a clerk of works with the ICWCI, and I think that's what it's going to be. I think for too many years, projects have gone up quickly and push for time, push for
yeah,
money, and teams are coming in that haven't really don't really understand the system they're putting together because there's so many systems, installers and that. So I think it's going to evolve that way in that my side of the business will become more an overseeing side
right.
where we go to sites and we do a facade risk appraisal as the building's going up. Just making sure everyone's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Clerk of Works. I think Clerk of Works has gone full circle. It used to be big years ago, and then sort of fizzled out. But
Yeah.
I think it's coming. I think that's the answer to
Okay.
this. Otherwise, we're just going to be in the same problem in 20 years.
Yeah, yeah, and we don't want that.
No, we
Don't want this
want
to
that
happen
at all.
again. So if clients then are appointing a survey provider,
Yeah.
what should they really be looking out for?
I think what's behind the report. I think not so much to expect just give me a report. You know, are they getting that? Is the provider getting the right information, the quality information that I've mentioned so many times on this? We do a due diligence pack, which just has all about our competencies, what we've done, you know, what qualifications we have, and I think if people looking at the service providers, I think if they requested that of anyone, then they could see, you know, who's doing the survey. There's also a thing called "who's checking the checkers" sort of thing.
Okay.
That's so,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. So yeah, I do think people need to. I do think people need to question their providers,
Yeah.
and make sure they have got those levels of competency.
I mean, there's a lot of talk and a lot of scrutiny around, you know, managing agents and leasehold and freeholders and that sort of thing, certainly in the press, but just in general with
Yeah.
leasehold reform. And I think it's, you know, it shouldn't just be on that. It should be on the wider view as well. You know, there should be questions asked, as you say,
Yeah.
like who are the managing agents appointing to do this survey? Are they
Yeah.
competent? How do you prove that
No,
competence?
exactly. I mean, it's quite easy just to go with anyone, and I'm not saying anyone's bad. I know when I look at my team, I look around at my team and DALA in general. Everyone I know, no one can ask a question of any of them,
Yeah.
and they will have the answer bang on. Their level of professionalism is high, and yeah, I'm confident in my team and DALA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your
Thank
time.
you. Thank you.